For today's threat assessment, I'm going to borrow a quote, which is a favorite of the person who typically occupies this chair, Carl Higbie, who is currently on the mend following surgery. The quote is from Thomas Jefferson, who famously said, "One man with courage makes a majority." In this case, the courageous individual is a 36-year-old woman named Kay Yang, and the setting is the New York City Pride Parade on Sunday. Ms. Yang is actually a former trans rights activist, emphasis on former. She worked for years in the school system as a trans educator, espousing the same radical ideologies which pose grave threats to our kids. But Yang now slams the trans ideologies that she once championed. Today, she works actually as a deprogrammer, aiming to free people from what she labels the cult-like agenda of the transgender movement. And this past Sunday, a defiant Yang stood front and center amid a crowd of trans activists at the New York City Parade, holding signs which simply expose the truth about trans ideologies and the devastating procedures. And take a look at how she was treated.
Bring it! Bring it!
Wow, assaulting her, and she's standing there peacefully. Incredible. So much for tolerance. It's my honor now to welcome Kay Yang to the show, the founder of StopFemaleErasure.com. Also here with us, Brandon Straka, founder of the Walk Away campaign. Thank you guys for being with us. Kay, we just saw that video of you being accosted. You were standing there peacefully. What made you decide to become a deprogrammer, and where do you get the courage to actually stand out there? Because I was actually worried for you for a minute there.
Yeah, thank you so much, Lydia, for having me and sharing my story today. I have been exposing this agenda now for over 5 years. Part of what gave me the courage is because I've seen it from the inside out, and I know the level of promotion of violence that is occurring against women and girls. And I attended the New York City Pride because I really wanted to raise awareness about this worldwide assault that is occurring on our female sex-based rights. And it's happening in the name of gender identity. And I went to the Pride festivities to oppose state-enforced child indoctrination and really stand firm against this open culture of child sexualization and lesbian and bisexual female erasure that's being promoted by the organizers of New York City Pride, by New York City Mayor Eric Adams and New York Governor Kathy Hochul.
And it's happening all across the country. We also saw these trans activists, or whatever you want to call them, they had that disgusting chant, Brandon, "We're coming for your children." I want everybody to take a look at the actual headline of how the media is explaining it away. Not only did they say it was a joke, but NBC News put, "We're coming for your children" chant at NYC drag march elicits outrage, but activists say it's taken out of context. Brandon, what goes through your mind to see that they're trying to, the media, explain this all away? I mean, it was pretty blatant. They were chanting, "We're coming for your children." Now they're saying it was a joke, and then the media, of course, backs them up.
It wasn't a joke. I mean, no matter how you look at it, it's not a joke. There's a couple of ways that you can interpret what they're saying. Number one, you can look at it as something incredibly literal. Look, we're coming to indoctrinate your children in the curriculum in schools and talk about gender ideology and trans ideology. Or you can look at it the way that I look at it, which is that this radical new TGIA on the end of the LGBT acronym is really a delivery system for a leftist ideology that's being pushed in America's classrooms, in America's libraries, in corporate advertising. It's everywhere. So they are coming for your children. And whether or not they're trying to literally transition your children, they are using this as a delivery system to try to turn your children into little leftists, little Democrats, and little left-wing protesters going down the road. So yes, they are coming for your children.
Sometimes I wonder if they actually want to make the kids trans. Kay, what made you decide to be a deprogrammer?
In 2011, I was hired at a local nonprofit, and my role there was to conduct community outreach and education. And I really had no idea that I was being used at the time. I found out through my work there and through collating program-wide reports for our funders at the New York State Department of Health AIDS Institute. I realized that the more teens that we had reporting LGBT identities, the more funding that we would receive for indoctrination. And all of this was being done under the guise of LGBT health and human services. And back then, no one had ever heard of a trans kid. And now you see this proliferation of children and their parents, really, who are identifying them as trans. And part of why I decided to definitively start speaking out on this issue is because there were males in my social circle who were identifying as women, and they were grooming young boys, meeting up with them. There was a sexual assault that occurred. And when I called these things out, I was accused of being transphobic, and I was told that I needed to support these men. I was even encouraged to support them to move from a female incarceration facility, or I'm sorry, into a female incarceration facility after an incident had occurred. So when I heard this, I realized that this idea of gender identity is absolutely in direct conflict with sex-based rights for women and girls and protecting children.
You were being used. We ran out of time. Brandon and Kay, thank you guys so much for being with us.
Thank you.
All right.